What's going on, everybody? It's Jared from Gaming Headquarters, and today we will be continuing the tutorial area into the first mission, Welcome to Earth Spacedock. If you're just joining us, welcome. In this video series, we'll be doing the quest walkthrough for the game Star Trek Online. If you didn't have a chance to watch the video from last week, I would highly encourage you to do that, as it is the first half to what we're going to be doing today. So, for those of you returning, if you would like to know kind of where we're at and track our, the progress that we have in the videos, you can just hit J on your keyboard and then go to episodes. And once we actually start getting into the episodes, this will be the way that you're able to track which episodes we are currently on. As you can kind of see, there are a lot of different chapters, and each chapter has its own series of episodes. So this, I think, will be the easiest way for you to keep track with what I'm doing, so that way you're able to find whichever quest you need help with. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So we left off last time with Assimilation of the Innocent. So when you're doing these quests, you will more times than not have an option that will allow you to transwarp to your objective. You can see there's a little button right over here. All you'll simply do is click on it. Okay, well, I guess this time it's not. Normally you'll just click on it and it'll give you the option to transwarp to whatever your mission objective is. So I think because we're still like in the very early stages, we're not allowed to access the transwarp thing. So my apologies for that. I actually thought we had already had that, but we don't. So what we're doing is we are going to warn the Vega system that the Borg are on the way. So it's a kind of a slow journey, but I will definitely be seeing you once we arrive in the Vega colony. Alright, and just like that, we have arrived at the Vega 9 colony. So all your quests or missions that you'll be able to do when you arrive to that specific area will have the yellow text begin whatever mission you're trying to work on. So you'll just click that or hit F on your keyboard and it'll get you started on the mission.
We arrived before the Borg. Now my heart can start beating. Tavrel managed to
Greetings, Captain. Repeat.
I have...
Alright, first objective is to boost the signal with the satellite by going to the satellite.
Our hails are still blocked. The transwarp conduits opening all over the system, Captain. The Borg are here.
Alright, so there's 3 different groups. You can kind of fight them in whichever order you would prefer. I would just say knock out these 2 groups right here, because eventually you'll rotate over there where all those transport ships are located. So I would just kind of start over here. So, fun fact, I don't know if I mentioned it in the last episode or not, but the way the tutorial plays out is a little bit different than the way it used to play out. Here we immediately run into the Borg, as to where with the original tutorial that we had, it was the Klingons that we were dealing with that ended up leading to the Borg. So if I remember correctly, the reason they made that change was because of all the new Star Trek series and whatnot that include the Borg and stuff of that nature. But if you've never watched a walkthrough of the original tutorial, I'd highly encourage you to do so, just because, you know, it's a very, in my opinion, a very touching story that unfolds. One of the things you have to credit Star Trek to, especially if you've watched my other videos where it's for ESO, is that these are very, very story-driven. If you've watched Star Trek, like the TV shows and whatnot, you can definitely see how it mirrors kind of what you would see on the different TV shows.
I have short-range communications. Long-range signals are still blocked.
So, if you've watched my ESO series, you know, sometimes certain choices will have certain consequences. Here, there are a few of them that are like that. A lot of them, though, are just RP, you know, role-playing type decisions. So it doesn't really matter what you choose for most of them, unless it has a little green text. Green text usually indicate that there's going to be a choice with a potential consequence. So definitely something to keep in mind as you are playing. Also, another piece of advice: when you are in your combat, do not be too close to the ships as they explode. In this game, if you are in fact too close to the ships as they explode, you can take damage, especially if you're in a non-tanky ship. So it actually will very much hurt you to do so. If you're in a really tanky craft, you'd probably be okay. You know, like my Romulan engineer could absolutely tank it, no problems whatsoever. So just something to keep in mind as you are battling. Also, for cinematic effect, you can hit X, and kind of, as you see, the camera angle changed a little bit, to where you'll face your enemy more often. It's kind of like a cool little cinematic thing that I like to turn on, but you don't have to. Alright, so our next objective is to beam down to the Vega colony.
The Borg have landed.
Go ahead and beam down. Alright, so this is what is called your away team menu. Here you will see yourself, and then in this mission we're allowed to take 2 different people with us. So in this case it's automatically chosen them for us, but you're able to click the down menu and change who you want to bring with you. Now keep in mind, which I will break down in a future video, you will be able to design your away teams based on the rarity of the bridge officer, their abilities, and whatnot, because in short, you have 2 different builds of bridge officers. You have your space crew and your ground crew. So you idealistically don't want to take your space crew into your ground crew, and you don't want to put ground crew into your space officer abilities. So just something to keep in mind as you're going through. Most of your story missions, it won't really count, because you won't really start getting the good stuff till you start hitting 55, 60 anyway. So kind of just use what they've got. What I would advise in a situation where you're in a trio is you take yourself, you'll take a science and an engineering, or an engineering science, whatever order you want to put them in. And that's kind of how I would recommend building your bridge crew, because you know, you have obviously yourself, but then you get all these different bridge officers and whatnot. And you know, I always try to equip them with whoever's going to be my second, and then my third, my fourth, my fifth, and whatnot, just to make sure that my bridge officers are good to go, ready to respond when I need them to. So now we're going to beam down to Vega Colony.
Captain, according to our readings, no, sir. That's one of those Borg ships.
Alright, so if you don't know about the Borg already, they will adapt to energy-style weapons. So my advice to you, especially when you start doing Defera or something like that, where you have to fight a large amount of Borg, is to get either the Tommy gun, the shotgun, or some kind of melee weapon that you'll be able to use against the Borg, because they can adapt to melee weapons. So, you know, and of course in these missions you kind of don't have much of a choice. You know, you can get remodulators, stuff like that, to assist you with that. However, in all reality, melee weapons are definitely where it's at. So, we're going to come up here and we're going to speak to the administrator, or the refugee.
Thank you. Thank God. This code will open the gate. Please, you have to help us.
They're going to give you some free gear, some armor. Once you get it, you're able to come throw it on. Remember to keep your people well equipped, that way they're able to help you as much as possible during battle. Alright.
Oh no, we're too
I
late.
forgot, I haven't changed my keybinds. for beam out, and you're basically going to do this over and over and over again. Alright, our next objective is to talk to the administrator, which this is her right here.
I apologize. No. But first...
Alright, you'll come over here, retrieve some supplies, which as you'll see is a tactical kit module. So basically what a tactical kit module, or in general what a kit module is, because you have one for tactical, one for science, and one for engineering, is you'll put them here in the kit module slot. These will give you different abilities that you'll be able to use in combat. So I always just recommend throwing this up to 3, and then you'll equip your kit module all here. What you can also get is a kit, and the kit will give you, buffs and stuff like that that'll help you in combat as well. So always try to make sure you get good versions of those. That way, you're good to go. You can reorganize them however you want, so on. So here you're going to go ahead and set up the pattern enhancers. Alright, I'm going to speak to her. I'm going to make sure you prepare yourself,
I'll do that.
because now we have to defend the colonists as they come to the transporters. Alright, now we're going to answer the hail from the ship.
Shields are back. Thank you for everything you've done. Even though it was impossible to save everyone, those you did save will be forever. Why do anything?
All right, Coles, you're gonna see friends who've been assimilated. Don't hesitate.
I know the drill. Just never expected any more. Alright, gonna follow this path up. There's gonna be some Borg here. I knew that one. We played poker last night. Another one here. Alright, this is gonna be the next area. What you're gonna do is you're gonna come up here, you're gonna find Captain Taggart. He's been assimilated. And basically we're gonna have to just beat everything, deactivate the force field for the transport inhibitor, and then we will split. So make sure you walk over here carefully. If you're not careful, you will be very overwhelmed quickly. There have been a few times where I got a little too cocky and I got smoked. So
I'm gonna go with E.
take your time, stay by your team, especially at the, and Hazarva, you just saw her drop a turret. Try not to go too far, and you'll be okay. Over here, disable the force field. Now you can have Captain Taggart come out here and try some stuff. Get too close, just get them off swag.
Yeah. The one thing I think I don't like about all this is that they essentially made Captain Taggart into a, Captain Picard story. I guess it's kind of, in a way, it's a little nod to the Star Trek universe as is, but, you know, in the Klingon story, he died. He sacrificed himself, that way the crew could, live.
We're packed to the brim with civilians.
Alright, so our next thing is we're going to go reconfigure beacons. As we begin reconfiguring them,
Multiple probes
I'm
inbound.
going to fight
I don't think the Borg
a
like us hanging
wave
around.
of Borg. Alright, now that that battle's over, we're going to go to the next orbital satellite. Little fun fact about the spheres is that eventually they will start throwing shield drains back at you.
There are several fast-moving ships on sensors.
So,
No way to contact them, and I can't tell if they're friend or
if you
foe.
have the ability, like I showed in the last video, it'll start flashing red. At that point, just prepare yourself, try to see if you have a few shield abilities standing by. That way you're able to drop them as soon as they do that against you.
Cube? Guess it's our time to go out in a blaze of glory.
All hands, this is Admiral Janeway. Target that cube and open fire.
That's it. Another Borg bites the dust.
Sorry about the delay. Oh, I want you to
Alright,
Civilians
so
safety.
that's it. Now we're gonna head back to Earth Spacedock and be
I'll see you
recognized
back at
for
Earth
how
Spacedock,
cool
Captain.
we are.
one more.
Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Got a new bridge officer, Mr. Coles. Do we have access to transwarp yet? We do not. Alright. So, if you look on your map, you can see the yellow little rings around the Sol system. That'll be Earth Spacedock. In order to go there, you just double click it, plot a course, and then the ship will automatically make moves to go there. So, instead of having you sit here and watch for however long it takes, I will see you once we've arrived at Earth Spacedock. Alrighty, and just like that, we have now arrived at the Sol system. Go ahead and enter Earth Spacedock. Now, any of the space docks themselves are pretty cool, and the reason I say that is because a lot of different people spend a lot of money on the different ships and whatnot, so if you're thinking about buying a certain ship, you can, just kind of look around the space dock, see what people are rocking, and be like, oh, well, I kind of like the way that looks, so let me go buy it, definitely something to kind of keep in mind, something to think about, and take advantage of it while you can. You can find it at, that same setup in all of the major areas. So you have the Romulan flotilla, New Romulus, the KDF area of Kronos, here at Earth Spacedock. You also have like DS9, the battle zones, stuff like that. People will be, flying different ships. So, just keep your eye out as you go about. You may find something that you want to captain yourself. So we're going to follow all the way, this guided path. This guided path is going to take you to the Admiral. Just note that it's not going to happen with every quest. This is just the beginning one to help you get from point A to point B. If you want to find your objective, you can hit V, and it'll give you a little guide that will show you where you need to go. So,
Ah, there you are. You've showed now. Worth don't mention it.
alright, cool. So basically what just happened is you're a savage, you did great, you report in, basically they're going to promote you to captain even though you're not the rank of captain, but
unfortunately, Vega is
you're going to follow orders, and then that's going to give you the Welcome to Earth Spacedock quest. So this one shouldn't take too long, but as you can see here, there's a bunch of different missions. They kind of throw all of them at you at once. So you can either explore and do them on your own, or you can follow the quest guide that I show you, again as a reminder, in the Episodes tab here. I would advise doing that, especially if you're a first-time player, as it really gives you a feel for the lore of the world and the galaxy at large, honestly. So you can close this, and should you say, hey, I want to continue my next mission or get my next mission, if you go back here to the episodes, you can hit the hail button, and it will immediately bring you up that person who gives you that mission to accept said mission. I would advise doing it this way, and what I mean by this way is there's actually an option under right here. So it's called Disable Mission Auto Hail. So the reason that I would turn that feature on and do it manually is, let's say you're logging into a character you haven't logged into for a while, and you're trying to kind of get yourself situated. Well, that will the auto hail will essentially be throwing all the new missions at you, everything you don't got, everything you haven't done yet, and it can become very overwhelming, especially if you've been gone from the game for such a long period of time. So I would highly recommend you just turn off the auto hail and hail manually. That way you're able to control more of what you're doing at that current moment. So welcome to Earth Spacedock. That was essentially the one where he just said, hey, here's a bunch of free stuff, welcome, and you can go get your next orders from him. So that basically wraps up today's episode. If you enjoyed, please drop a like, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell. That way you're able to join us for the next episode. I hope each of you have a wonderful day. Happy gaming, guys.